Recording in progress.
Good evening. It is Tuesday, December 17th, 2024, 7:01 p.m., and I'd like to call Richland County Council Zoning Public Hearing Meeting to order. Madam Clerk.
Brenham. Pugh. McBride.
Here.
Livingston. Horatio.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Barron.
Here.
Mackey.
Here.
English.
Present.
Newton. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is item number 3, additions, deletions to the agenda. Director Wright.
There are no additions or deletions by staff.
Next is item 4, withdrawals and deferrals.
Madam Chair,
You recognize Councilwoman Barron.
thank you. And I just want to, before I list out the ones that I am deferring, I just want to also go on the record to state why I'm deferring those items. So I've tried to touch as many individuals as I could before the meeting to let them know. However, it is my custom in District 7 to hold town hall meetings. And as we hold these town hall meetings, they are designed so that our neighbors will have an opportunity to have an audience with the applicant and those individuals that are involved in the rezoning process. Several of these have already had town hall meetings and are now having small group discussions with some of the neighbors to further get an understanding about what the projects are proposing to do. And then there are just some of them that we've not had a town hall meeting for. And I just want to stay true to the process that I've created for myself as well as for my district. So I'm going to defer these items and I'm going to list them out until February, until our February meeting. And I'll be deferring item 1, item 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10. And if I need to repeat.
Yes, please repeat.
I am deferring item 1, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10. as well as and I'm deferring the item and the public hearing.
Said until, February 2025, correct, for all of them?
Correct.
Okay. Madam Clerk, remind me, that need a mo,
I move to defer items 1, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 8 and 10.
Second.
a motion and a second for deferral of these items along with the public hearing until our February 20 zoning public. Madam Clerk?
Yes. Livingston. Teratio.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes?
Mackey.
Yes.
English.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Any further withdrawals or deferrals? Hearing none, move along to item number 5, adoption of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
McBride.
Yes.
Livingston. Teratio.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes?
Mackey.
Yes.
English. Motion approved.
Thank you. We are now at item 6, 2, A2. Case number 24-033MA, John Conroy Lunan, General Commercial to Residential 3, 266 Raven Road, TMS number R17116-01-09. Planning Commission recommends approval. Staff recommends approval. This public hearing is now open. And we do not have any individuals that signed up to speak this evening. This public hearing is now closed.
Madam Chair,
You recognize, Ms. Barron.
I move to approve item 6A2.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Livingston.
Yes.
Teratio.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes?
Mackey.
Yes.
English.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next is item 3, case number 24-035MA, Robert Christopher Lee, General Commercial to Residential Transition. 511 Ross Road, TMS number R107-03-03. Planning Commission recommends approval, staff recommends disapproval. This public hearing is now open. We did not have any individuals that signed up to speak this evening.
Madam Chair,
This public hearing is now closed. You recognize, Ms. Barron?
thank you. I move to approve item 6A3.
Motion and a second for approval. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
McBride.
Yes.
Livingston.
Yes.
Teratio.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes?
Mackey.
Yes.
English.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next is item 7, case number 24-042MA, Christopher Knight, Agricultural to Heavy Industrial. 5801 Bluff Road, TMS number R18600-01-01P. Planning Commission recommends disapproval. Staff recommends disapproval. This public hearing is now open. We have, we have the applicant along with 2 individuals signed up in favor and 8 signed up against. I will call your name, and once your name is called, please come up to either of the podiums at the front. State your first and last name as well as your address. and you'll be given 2 minutes to speak. There will be a timer. When you reach your 2 minutes, you will hear the timer ring, and at that point, we ask that you conclude your remarks, please, and have a seat to allow the next person to go. County Council rules state that we will have 30 minutes for a public hearing unless we vote to extend at that time. And so we will be monitoring the comments take and if we extend the time. First is Christopher Knight. Hold on, sir, just a minute. They're going to assist with your mic so we can make sure that we hear you.
All right, good evening. Christopher Knight, 1535 Basil Road, Swansea, South Carolina, representing Westinghouse at 5801 Bluff Road, Hopkins, South Carolina. The Columbia Fuel Fabrication Facility has had a presence in Richland County since 1969, with about half of our current employees living in Richland County today. Our facility manufactures nuclear fuel assemblies for commercial nuclear power plants in the U.S. and abroad. We are licensed by the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission to possess uranium-235 and manufacture assemblies. Facility holds several state-issued licenses or permits to support manufacturing operations. The Westinghouse currently sits on approximately 1,151 acres, of which 245 are currently zoned for heavy industrial use. The remaining 906 acres are agricultural. This request is for 53 adjacent acres be added to the existing 245 heavy industrial for a total of 298 acres of heavy industrial use. The rezoning will allow for construction of a new state-of-the-art manufacturing facility. 853 acres will remain as agricultural, with nearly 600 acres of preserved wetlands and farmlands behind the bluff. This new facility will have more efficient processes and increase the use of automation while creating approximately 100 jobs of a highly technical nature. This will allow Westinghouse to stay competitive in a rapidly changing fuel market, will allow us to build LEU Plus fuel, an advanced product required by our customers. Without this expansion, we will be unable to produce this fuel. As a result, our customers may turn to competitors in other states. Doing so could impact our current operations and workforce. This supports the U.S. government's goal to triple nuclear power generation by 2050. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Nancy Parr and Edgar Fields. Edgar Fields, if you would take to this next mic just so we can try to get through a little faster. Ma'am, you're recognized.
Okay, my name is Nancy Parr. I'm the Environmental Protection Manager at the Westinghouse Hopkins site. I live at 3117 Wilmot Avenue, Columbia 29205. We've been listening to community input regarding our new facility and want to provide the following remarks. Westinghouse remains committed to the safe and transparent operations that protect our workers, the public, and the environment. The new facility will generate less air and water discharges compared to existing operations. This means that as we move production from the old to the new facility, the total site emissions will decrease. We share the same goal to protect the Congaree biosphere and have demonstrated that our operations have no impact on the protected and managed areas of the Congaree National Park and the significant cultural history of the Lower Richland area. Our property is in the partnership and cooperation area of the Congaree biosphere, along with other industries, military installations, neighborhoods, shopping areas, etc. Legacy impacts from historic operations that started up in 1969 are on site and are being actively addressed through a consent agreement with the Department of Environmental Services. This commitment doesn't change with the new facility. Several locations within our 1,151 acre property were considered for the new building. The selected location maintains a buffer between our operations and Bluff Road and is in an area of no environmental impact. This year we completed a focused cultural resource survey of the proposed area, and in November the SHPO agreed there were no areas of historic significance. We remain committed to being a good neighbor and will continue to engage with the Lower Richland community through a variety of ways to listen to input, answer questions and concerns, and partner with organizations to make a positive difference in the area. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Fields?
Edgar Fields, and the address is 1091 Landon Place Drive, Columbia, 29229. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to speak with you tonight on behalf of Westinghouse, a company that I've proudly been a part of for over 25 years. Working for Westinghouse has been a remarkable journey, and I can truly say that it's been more than just a job. It's actually been a cornerstone of opportunity growth and community connection. For individuals in our community and surrounding areas, Westinghouse represents more than just a place to work. It is a launch pad for those who may choose not to attend college immediately after high school. It provides not only a solid career path, but also the flexibility and support to pursue an education while still employed. Beyond the workplace, Westinghouse has made an incredible impact on the community. Whether it's sponsoring events like the Sweet Potato Festival, the Juneteenth celebration, or even volunteering time to read to the students at Gadsden Elementary. Westinghouse is committed to giving back and enriching the lives of others. For me personally, Westinghouse has been life-changing. It's allowed my family, my friends, and me to thrive. I am proud to have spent the last 25 years with a company that values its employees, its community, and the people it serves. In conclusion, I would just like to extend my deepest gratitude to Westinghouse for the opportunities, the support, and the unforgettable experiences. It has been an honor and a pleasure. So thank you to Westinghouse. And I also want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time this evening. You all have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Next is Dr. Warren and Tiffany Ridges.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Tamara Warren. I live at 216 Night Valley Circle, Columbia, South Carolina, 29209. I want to read a portion of which was shared at the last Planning Commission. With the adoption of the 2021 Land Development Code, this particular property's designation was changed from Rural District RU to an Agricultural District AG. And what we're talking about as far as the rezoning will renege on section 26 3.2 special purpose base district. This means this property falls under the special purpose base district designated as a conservation zone. I do want to reiterate that staff recommended disapproval. It was also noted during the Planning Commission that there was disapproval from 8-0. I also want to note, and I will refer to what was spoken before by the Honorable Gretchen Barron, that she has deferred some of her cases until there is further public comment and conversation for all to be included. Now, there was some conversations with Westinghouse, with select organizations and at select times, but that does not mean that was full conversation with constituents and everyone in the community. It has also been noted that there has been several attempts to reach out to our council person to have the same type of engagement to take place. And so I only think it is fair that if we are setting a standard on how we engage individuals in the community, we either defer until the next meeting so we can have everyone come to the table to express our concerns, or we go with what has been already stated. Staff recommendation, disapproval. Committee recommendation, disapproval. And I state that as not someone who is just not wanting our community to thrive, but I'm going on based on what is best for the environment.
Ridges?
Thank you. My name is Tiffany Ridges, and I stand in solidarity with the Lower Richland community as a community advocate under the tutelage of House Representative Robert Reese. And I'm here to stand on the behalf of Ms. Karen Irick, who is a constituent of Councilwoman English. And she states specifically, these are her words: while I am not able to attend this meeting.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Would you please state your name and address for the record?
Yes, my name is Tiffany Ridges. I'm at 1208 Bush River Road, Columbia, South Carolina, 29212. And again, I am a community advocate for Lower Richland. And again, Ms. Karen Irick states specifically, while I'm not able to be present this evening, I felt compelled to stand in solidarity with my community to ask of you to accept the staff and commissioner's recommendation to disapprove this map amendment. Let me tell you why. My father was a farmer who loved the land. I'm a natural-born environmentalist and conservationist. In this day and time, I'm more frightened than I was during the era of the Bert the turtle, who taught us children, the baby boomers, to duck and cover through the drills in an event of an atomic bomb attack. When my siblings and I learned to drive, we were forbidden by our parents to drive on Highway 48. They didn't have to worry about me because that's where the applicants is located. You see, the words nuclear and atomic bomb were synonymous to me. I don't think it is unreasonable for me to be frightened when the applicant wants to increase its industrial footprint 6 miles away from my front door. Why do they need that much land? When will they come back and want to expand again? In 15 to 20 years? Please take heed. We cannot replace or grow more land. I respectfully ask your anonymous disapproval of this map amendment, and I also stand in solidarity with her comments. Please take heed to the needs of Lower Richland. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Elaine Cooper and John Grego.
Elaine Cooper, 3105 Dallas Road, Columbia, South Carolina, 29204. I would like to ask the Richland County Council members to consider the zoning commissioners voted to disapprove 8-0, a unanimous recommendation. Consider that this new proposed facility up for rezoning will increase the uranium content in nuclear fuel rods. This is new. This LEU plus fuel for the new nuclear fuel rods is more radioactive and toxic than the fuel made presently. Most commercial reactors fuels use low enriched uranium, LEU, enriched between 3 and 5%. The proposed facility at Westinghouse will make LEU plus and increase from 5 to 8%. Westinghouse allowed uranium to build up for 23 hours late in 2016 in the pollution control device, and NRC spokesman stated, you could potentially have criticality, basically a chain reaction that could cause some kind of flash explosion, according to an NRC spokesman in 2016. That was 2016. Back then, this occurred with EU low enriched uranium at 3 to 5%. Remember, now they're proposing 5 to 8%. Now consider the potential environmental impacts of the proposed LEU percent. So why is zoning being discussed for this new Westinghouse proposed additional facility before we have a much needed environmental impact study, EIS, led by the NRC Nuclear Regulatory Commission? Where is the environmental study based on the potential impacts of the new enriched uranium? We need to know what the potential overall impacts would be. For instance, for your consideration, this is from an October 2nd, 2024 EPA report. Exposure to low levels of radiation encountered.
Ms. Cooper, that is your time.
This is my last sentence.
That's
and the
your time,
environment
ma'am.
does
Ms.
not
Cooper, please,
does lead to cancer.
A 2-minute warning.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would ask that all participants signed up tonight, please stay within the 2-minute warning. Thank you. Hi, Mr. Grego. You're recognized.
Hi, my name is John Grego, and I reside at 830 Old Woodlands Road, 29209. In my capacity as president of Friends of Congaree Swamp, I've provided public comments in the past on Westinghouse's surface water discharge permits and relicensing applications. I oppose the proposed rezoning of this 53-acre parcel for several reasons. First, Westinghouse has more than sufficient property already zoned as heavy industrial to build an additional plant closer to Bluff Road. A location farther from the bluff edge than the proposed site would provide better buffering for the Congaree River floodplain, thus better protecting sensitive sites, including Congaree National Park and the county's mitigation site and conservation lands on Mill Creek. A location already zoned heavy industrial closer to Bluff Road would place the site between two existing impacted sites, the current Westinghouse plant itself and the South Carolina Recycling and Disposal Incorporated Superfund site on the other side of Bluff Road. This location would lessen the impact to more sensitive areas in the floodplain. Further disposition of the current site is unsettled. Portions of the site proposed for rezoning are within the groundwater contaminant plume for PCE, trichloroethene, and nitrate. The final step of the remedial investigation that has taken place under a Department of Environmental Services consent order would be a feasibility study to address existing contamination on site. That feasibility study has not yet been approved, and the rezoning should not take place amid this uncertainty. A new facility location closer to Bluff Road, on the other hand, could be built at a location with no documented contamination since it is upgradient from the current plant. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Pamela Greenlaw and Neil, is it Polhemus? Recognize me.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Pamela Greenlaw. I live at 916 Ontario Drive in West Columbia with close ties to Lower Richland community. The community has, I'm sorry, I'm not good with 2 minutes. Westinghouse has great reliance on the consent agreement. But I gave you a document I'd like you to take time to read from the Department of Interior when Westinghouse wanted its 40-year license, because in it they express what was lacking in the consent agreement to protect the environment. And I can't read that to you, okay, but I did provide that for you. Once the zoning has been changed, the county may lose control of what is under the roof of the proposed facility. This has already happened. The current facility that's operating now has under its roof Westinghouse subsidiary called Westinghouse Government Services. And under there, and it's separate from where they make nuclear rods. They make TP bars. Have you heard of those? TP bars are for putting in elements that are sent to the TVA to be irradiated to create tritium. That's sent to Savannah River site for use in nuclear bombs. You didn't even know it was there. They had to be alerted by someone in the community that they weren't being taxed, they weren't being assessed, and it's still there operating because it's not something that you knew about. DHEC has no control over it. It's under the NNSA. So what's going to happen with this building? You don't know what all is going to go under it. We have the plan. They want to make the new fuel. Fine. There's no record on what the results are when that fuel is put into our very old nuclear plants. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please reject this request. Thank you.
My name is Neil Polhemus. I reside at 1122 Post Street, Columbia, South Carolina, 29201. I'm here this evening to speak in opposition to Westinghouse's request to rezone 53 acres of the site to heavy industrial. On November 21st, I attended a community engagement board meeting at Lower Richland High School. At the meeting, company representatives described the nature of the new manufacturing building and its massive expansion. The primary reason Westinghouse officials made for supporting the new construction, which will house far more uranium than the current facility, was aesthetics. Yes, aesthetics. The best argument Westinghouse officials could make for rezoning was aesthetics, that building a new manufacturing facility in its proposed location would, quote, eliminate an eyesore for traffic along Bluff Road. This reasoning is destructive and illogical. The rezoning of the parcel to heavy industrial would needlessly destroy a 30-year-old pine forest and cause irreparable harm to the flora and fauna downriver. to needlessly destroy a forest to save a few dirty looks from oncoming traffic is not an acceptable trade-off. Rather, it is flawed logic that fails to consider the harm and unnecessary suffering expansion of the facility would cause to citizens of Lower Richland. Currently, 145 acres of the property are zoned heavy industrial and are not yet developed. Yet Westinghouse is petitioning for an additional acreage because they do not want to build in a hayfield. This is dangerous and irrational and only accounts for Westinghouse's self-serving objectives and not the long-term needs of Richland County's citizens. I ask for your support in opposing Westinghouse's rezoning petition.
Thank you. Next, Cynthia Green, Robert Reese. Recognize Mr. Reese.
Good evening. Am I recognized?
You're not speaking, Mr. Reese, or?
I am. I thought you
Okay.
said Cynthia Green and Robert Reed.
I did. You just got to the mic first, so I recognized you, sir. You can go right ahead, ma'am.
Okay, I am Cynthia Green. I live at 1037 Congaree Church Road, lifelong resident of Richland County, except for the 40 years I spent serving the government. My family has been in this area since before the 1800s, and they've been farmers, they were enslaved people, and the environment is my big concern. No one has said what the environmental impact would be of this expansion. And in the other meetings that I've gone to, they've always mentioned an expansion. And now tonight I hear a replacement. I'm not sure exactly what this plan is for. And speaking to others in the community, they know nothing about it. They're not aware of what the purpose of this is and the impacts that would have based on that. And I hear lots of mention of profit, the economic impacts to the area. And it looks like just once again, maybe it's profit over people. So I would ask that you either delay, defer, or deny this expansion until more information is given. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Reese?
My name is Robert Reese. I live at 204 Sonoma Drive. That's Hopkins, South Carolina, 29061, approximately 3 miles from this plant. Tonight, I do not come to you as Representative Reese. I don't come to you as a resident of Lower Richland. I come to you as the former chair of the Zoning Appeals Board. So many times we have denied the residents of this county the opportunity to reconstruct or develop on their properties because we were following the land code. So many times we denied a resident an opportunity to rebuild or to put a structure on their property that did not adhere to the land development code. So many times we used what you put forward to us as the guiding document to adhere to the county zoning regulations. And tonight, I'm here to ask you to use your land code. The county has said to you, your own staff has said this does not adhere to the code. The Planning Commission has said this does not adhere to the code. And let me tell you a couple of reasons why it doesn't adhere to the code. First is a conservation zone. And what you said to us, the county, what the county said to the public was that this land should not be subdivided because of its significance. Westinghouse even said to you that this is a biosphere, nationally and internationally recognized. If they already have the land that it takes, then we should not be allowing them an opportunity to move forward. I would ask that you adhere to the staff recommendations to disapprove.
That concludes all individuals that have signed up to speak this evening. This public hearing is now closed.
Here.
You recognize Councilwoman English?
So much, and if you'll just indulge me for,
Yes, ma'am.
as I have truly heard from the public in this facility and outside, and I've spoken with a lot of people, and there are a number of things, I won't say that they concern me, but have really done my due diligence on this for years, ever since Westinghouse, even before they applied for their 40-year extension, which they received. This facility is not regulated by us. We are not the EPA. We are not OSHA. We are not DHEC. And we are not the Nuclear Regulatory Association. They've done their part in ensuring Westinghouse has followed rules and regulations and requirements set forth, and they permitted them to continue operations for another 40 years. So I'm not without understanding in my community, and we have had town hall meetings. I've also spoken about this in community neighborhood meetings. We've had countless meetings where I have seen a lot of false information being given. And I won't take a lot of time to say what those things were. But when I look at some of the things that were going forward, I was disturbed that the the zoning commission received information that the people representing were representative of that area, which was not true. That was falsely misrepresenting the position, and that's not true. Those are things that I have to come against in doing my due diligence, in working with the community, in speaking with people, in talking, in holding town hall meetings. I've seen this community constantly seek Westinghouse funds and then turn around and then talk about them. So we can't have it both ways. I see Westinghouse desiring to upgrade their facility in producing the same products, but improvements. And I say that to say any of us living in a house or buying an old house would want to put new windows on it. We'd want to fix, if there was a leaking roof, we'd want to put new roofs on it. And I don't make my decisions lightly, but I'm responsible, and I don't take it for granted the authority in which the residents of District 10 have given me. But I also don't want to base any decisions on thoughtless, misleading comments that don't reflect the truth. I have not refuted them. I don't argue with them, but I give factual information for the things that occur. And those are the things that need to be considered before we stand before anybody and make accusations. This is to improve the operations and upgrade current facilities. The impact to economic development is potentially devastating if this is disallowed. This is not the Savannah River plant where there has to be alarms put in place. This facility, if there is an accident, and God forbid, none of us want accidents to occur, but this facility, if there is an accident, the people that are impacted are within 30 feet I didn't say 30 yards, I said 30 feet. And so the implications that they want to do with the improvements are to minimize those things. I'm not saying Westinghouse is perfect, but as they have received new regulations and requirements, they've been forthright in providing that. And they do that with the Community Engagement Board. They let us know every time that there is something wrong, and they're not hiding anything. Before these regulations were put in place, all of the facilities such as this were out of compliance. But once these compliances and once these requirements were put in place, then they stepped up. They said, we want to be a part of this community. We want to do the right thing. And I hear your voice. I hear everything you're saying. But we have to go on facts, and we have to understand that they've been operating in this area since 1969. And before 2020, nobody ever heard a word from anybody in the community. So I appreciate everything that's been said. But with that, with the things that have been set before us, with the progress that's being made, the improvements that we want to make, and I thank my counsel for indulging me for a minute. I want to make sure that you understand that this does not come lightly, and I support Westinghouse in their improvements, and my recommendation is to approve this. And I move to approve. Thank you.
A motion for approval?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
McBride. Livingston. Teratio.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
English.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next is item 9, case number 24-046 MA, Todd P. Corley, light industrial to heavy industrial, Wessinger Road, TMS number R12000-02-07 and 08. Planning Commission recommends disapproval. Staff recommends disapproval. This public hearing is now open. We do not have any individuals sign up to speak this evening. This public hearing is now closed. This public hearing is now closed. I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair.
You're recognized.
I do see you, Mr. Corley, and I do want to just go on the record to state that Mr. Corley did attend our town hall meeting. I do have some concerns about this property because originally in the town hall meeting, I was thinking that it was a particular property that we had discussed in another town hall meeting. However, when I digged a little bit further, I realized that it wasn't the case. And this property, even though given the applicant is looking to expand his business and do some expansions to its business right now as it exists, this property, based on what I've already studied out and talked with staff, is not in the best, the use that the applicant is wanting to obtain is not the best use for this piece of property. And so because of that, I will move to deny it.
A motion for denial.
Second.
A second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Livingston.
Yes.
McBride. Teratio.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
English.
Yes.
Motion to deny approved.
Next is item, oh wait, that was the last one, right? Okay. All right, that concludes all public hearing this evening. Next is item 7.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second for adjournment. Madam Clerk?
McBride. Yes. Livingston.
Yes.
Teratio.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
English.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Meeting adjourned.